Welcome everyone to the program. We begin with human rights activist Mr. Femi Falana and lawyer to the co-convener of the Revolution Now protest, Mr. Samuel Shore, who says that he's dragging the Department of State Services, the DSS, to court over the continued detention of his client. The senior advocate of Nigeria told Channels Television that he has commenced contempt proceedings against the security agency. Mr. Shore is still in the DSS custody days after the court says he could go home on bail with conditions. The Department of State Services is yet to release Mr. Samuel Shore despite meeting all his bail conditions, according to his lawyers. A member of Mr. Shore's legal team, Mr. Marshal Abubakar, who led a team of family members to the headquarters of the Department of State Services to receive Mr. Shore, said this on Saturday. He said that after putting calls across some high-ranking DSS officials, they were told to wait as the persons who could authorize Mr. Shore's release were unavailable. The Executive Secretary of the National Human Rights Commission, Mr. Tony Ojukwu, has asked law enforcement agents to stop desecrating the judiciary. Meanwhile, the DSS said it has received a court order releasing Mr. Shore, but nobody has turned up at the services office to take his delivery. He said the DSS would never obstruct justice or disobey court orders, but would rather do the needful as soon as the appropriate processes have been concluded. Well, let's hear from Mr. Falana on the latest plans to sue the DSS. He joins us now via telephone. Well, I should thank you, Mr. Femi Falana, for joining us at this time. You've said that the orders of the Federal High Court for the immediate release of Mr. Shore and also Mr. Bakare have been disobeyed by the State Security Service. Why do you think they have done this, haven't met all the bail conditions?
Well, the State Security Service is not prepared to release them, particularly Mr. Samuel Shore. I understand, I was reliably informed last night by a security shop that the government is currently fishing for evidence. An attempt is being made to file a fresh charge on Tuesday so that there will be an excuse that we are arraigning them in court, hence we are unable to release them. If you recall, that was what was done when Justice Taiwo granted Mr. Shore bail on the 24th of September. For a whole week, the order of the court was flouted. And then, of course, on the 30th of September, on the 30th, on the 30th of August, the charge was, it was arraigned together with Mr. Bakare. But we are ready for them. Of course, tomorrow morning we are filing contempt proceedings. We are also filing an application under the Fundamental Rights Enforcement Procedure challenging the illegal detention of Mr. Shore a week before an illegal order was procured to detain him for 45 days. And you will recall, he was detained to investigate terrorist activities. At the end of
Falana, I must ask right now, with this new contempt proceedings against the DSS, that what would you be hoping to achieve, seeing as the first court order, if you may, has not been adhered to from the looks of it?
Is to have the Director General of State Security Service brought to court to justify why it's not going to reproduce the two of them as ordered by the court. And if he's unable to release them, what the law requires is that he should be sent to prison. Because nobody is above the law in Nigeria. We either run a government under the rule of law or under martial law.
All right, Mr. Femi Falana, we would like to appreciate your time. Thank you for your thoughts at this time. We'll continue to bring you an update on that story.